Of course. Mayor Pro Tem Scott Funk,
Present.
Councilmember Liz Silva,
Present.
Councilmember Lorraine Berthy,
Present.
Councilmember Maria Orozco.
Present.
Mayor Jose Rios.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City Attorney, and everyone present. My name is Joel Hernandez. I am the representative for District 5, which covers the areas of Gonzales, part of Salinas, and all of Prunedale. So that's the district that I represent, and I'm here to present on some of the work that's happening with the healthcare system. I have a special guest. My daughter Valeria Hernandez is here with me, and the reason why I want to start with that is she's the reason why I serve on the board. In 2019, she went through some health problems, ended up hospitalized twice in our hospital. Once she was transferred to Stanford in Palo Alto, spent there a week as well. But after that, my wife and I were finding a way of giving back to the institution. And so when, unfortunately, Dr. Nelson passed away in early 2020, there was this appointment process for the healthcare system. And I said, you know, I'm gonna put my name in there and see what comes about it. I did not know the responsibility that came with an elected position, but she's the reason why our family is really invested in the institution. And I'll start off with the first slide. So just to cover, our mission at the healthcare system is to provide quality healthcare for our patients and to improve the health and well-being of our community. So the institution has looked at not making just what's inside the hospital and how we provide those services, but how is the institution going outside into the community with several programs and clinics to make sure that we are not waiting for patients to come, but we're preventing some of those. So that's what the mission stands for. Next slide. And our vision is we're a community where good health grows through every action, in every place, in every person. And we take that very seriously. And just to share some numbers about the institution. So we have an acute care hospital that's licensed for 263 beds. We service a district of about 450,000 residents within our district. It started in 1953. We have 2,100 employees within the healthcare system, and it's elected by 5 board member districts. So it covers areas of Marina, it covers some areas of Salinas, North County, South County, and so it's a wide district. Next slide, please. So all the green areas are some of our district areas. It's really important that you notice that our district is quite diverse. And so you have these areas now in Marina that are $1 million homes. You have, but you also have some communities within Salinas that are very disenfranchised. And how do we make sure that we're taking care of everyone? And we are looking at providing the best service to everyone that comes to our institution. So the institution has changed a lot in 10 years. And so many people think that the Salinas Valley Health is just a hospital. It is actually larger than that. In the last 10 years, it's grown to increase some facilities. So we have our mammography center, we have our cardiology diagnostic center, we have an office in Ryan Ranch, close to Monterey. We have our Taylor Farms Family Health Wellness Center here in Gonzales, but we also have many other clinics. We have an infusion center treating cancer patients. We have palliative care, and we also have some affiliate and partners, which is Doctors on Duty. We partner with Monterey Bay and Endocrinology Center. So it is way beyond that. The institution also owns property and real estate that is leased out. So that's another way of providing some revenue. And we have urgent care. We have several urgent cares. We have some as far as Santa Cruz, Seaside, Watsonville, San Luis and Salinas with the Doctors on Duty, Pinnacles. And so it's much larger than just the hospital. Next slide, please. So magnet is only 10% of the hospitals across the nation are able to achieve this magnet status. And what that means is that our nurses are to the highest capacity. They have been, so we have organizations and third parties that come and do a full search about how our nurses are practicing within our healthcare system. And they were able to receive the magnet designation last year. And so that is prestige. Not a lot of hospitals in the country have that status. So it's something that we're very proud of. Again, there are several institutions that we partner with. Some of those are Stanford Healthcare. And I'm really glad that we have that partnership, and that's something that's really important to us. It's when we have the ability to refer patients that are in severe situations that we can just call Stanford and say, do you have a bed for one of our patients? And then we provide transportation and all logistics to make sure that happens. And I've been a witness of that when my daughter had to be transferred over to Stanford. I mean, it was very easy. We did not have to deal with anything. It was just, we're gonna get you ready. We have an ambulance coming, and someone can ride in the ambulance all the way to Stanford and back. And so that was something that's really important. It's a partnership that I really make sure that we always have continuation. These are some other, we have a pediatric diabetes at UCSF. So that's a lot of partnership. Diabetes is affecting our, especially our Latino community. So it's a partnership that we're always interested in having. We can keep going. I've covered some of that. And I want to make sure that I have space for questions. That's our Gonzalez clinic. Our mobile clinic. So this one is really important. And I know there's many people that were behind this idea of having a mobile clinic. And the reason why I share this is because many people in Gonzalez and Salinas, this is their only way of getting healthcare. And so this is a mobile clinic that is fully designed to get out to communities and provide services that many people sometimes are afraid to come to our hospitals or our clinics, or there is the insurance barrier. So it's having a mobile clinic that is serving our community and is not asking any questions. We've recently incorporated social workers into the mobile clinic to help people with any other needs, not just the health needs. Our Blue Zones project, many of you know about the Blue Zones project. This is it's a worldwide program that's been placed in several communities across the world, and it's really to help work on prevention. I know that our Blue Zones project is working very closely with the city of Gonzalez. About a few weeks ago, there was Zumba classes at the park. Then that was aligned with the flu clinic, and I know that they're working on to bring in a chair yoga program for seniors in Gonzalez. So that's really good. It's making sure that everyone is active and it's moving to make sure that again, this is all preventative. Although many hospitals and clinics make money from people coming into the institution, we are making sure that we're looking at the preventative side of it. It's not just about the money, it's making sure that people are not getting sick and don't end up in our hospitals and our clinics. Our healthcare pathways education, during the pandemic, we noticed that there was a decrease in nursing just across the nation. And so what the institution now is doing is partnering with high schools, it's partnering with Hartnell College, it's partnering with CSUMB to make sure that we have a pathway for nursing programs. So what that means is that we are starting as young as elementary, bringing them into the now that with COVID restrictions going down, we have students coming to our hospitals. We have students thinking about healthcare system. And then we connect them once they're in high school, they can go through several programs that we offer to see if there's an interest in these students to come into the healthcare system. Whether that's on the nursing staff, that's on the physician staff, that is on classified employees, or maybe admin jobs. So it's really important that we pique this interest and expose them to the healthcare system. In the future, they can go to Hartnell, CSUMB, or other institutions and come back to our organization to work for. So it's an investment in our community. This is the partnership that we have with Hartnell. We just expanded that Hartnell Health Center. So that is providing larger opportunity for students that are looking into the healthcare system. I tell you, some of these robotics and ways of learning now, I mean, you have these simulators and these robots that act like human beings. You don't know what you're gonna get, but students have to figure out what's wrong with the patient in this robotic setting. You walk in there and it seems like you're walking inside a hospital trying to diagnose someone that's going through, some kind of healthcare issue. And then we have the physician assistant program. We know that is no longer going to be available up to 2025, but we're also trying to find ways of increasing our physician assistant program. And these are many other recognitions that the hospital has received and the clinics about some of our services. Many of those, you'll see that a lot of these are A grading. These are the top. These are gold standards. These are very high achievable awards that our institution has received. And some other recognitions. I think that was the last slide. I do want to talk about two things that are very important that are going on. One is the Anthem negotiations. As you might see, last week, there's an article, so that negotiation, the Anthem and our Sons Valley Health have come to an agreement. So that contract is now, we're back into network. And even when we were not into network, the institution decided to make sure that any patient that had Anthem insurance and were coming into our institution, they would not receive a bill. We would take that for 5 months, we would cover that cost. Good thing is that our negotiations are going to be retroactive. So any stuff on billing, that's going to be covered. That's going to continue to go back to August 1st of 2023. And then the second item that's really important to the institution right now is our president and CEO. Pete Delgado, who served as the president and CEO for the organization for 10 years, decided to resign and retire. And so we've appointed an interim CEO, and that's Dr. Radner. Dr. Radner has been with the organization for 25 years, so he understands. He's our CEO of our clinics. So all the clinics that I mentioned, he's the CEO of those clinics. So he's been assigned as the interim president CEO while we conduct a national search. And so I've been very fortunate to be tasked with chairing that committee of the search process. So we've hired Weave Kiefer, which is a national consulting firm that's going to help us in that process. It is a 6 to 10 month process to look to develop a job description, talk to stakeholders about what is it that we're looking for the next president and CEO. So that's part of what's going on with our search for a new president and CEO. I also serve as the chair of the finance committee, vice chair of the community advocacy committee. And so you must understand that when you think that when you become an elected, you're only going to serve one thing. I know that there's many other tasks that come along. So I'm very fortunate to serve on those committees. So that's a little bit about what's going on with the organization. As the chair of the committee, I've reached out to several partners that would be part of that committee. I'm happy to say that I reached out to Carmen Gill, your city manager, to be that South County representative to make sure that we have representation. Other members are former supervisor John Phillips, that is a part of the North County district. So, and then we have other physicians and other stakeholders that will be part of that committee. And so what that committee would do is conduct some of those interviews, look at the best candidates and recommend some of those candidates to the board. And so I'm happy to answer any questions you might have of some of the topics that I cover or anything that you have. But thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to come anytime that you just want an update on the institution.
Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions for him?
No. Thank you.
No questions. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I think Maria's got it.
No, just to thank you, Joel, for all the information and the good work that that you're doing to ensure that our community receives the best healthcare services. And thank you to your daughter for coming with you.
Yeah.
I have a comment.
Oh, you have a comment? Go ahead.
I don't have a question. I have a couple of comments. First, I'm one of those very happy people that you were able to settle with Anthem Blue Cross because that is my family's insurance. My husband worked for the state of California and he worked for almost 25 years. So that is one of those perks that he's able to have as we retire. And I'm part of the first year class born at Memorial Hospital. I was born in January of 1954, about 8 months after they opened the hospital. So it's very near and dear to my heart because I had my daughter there. My daughter had her 3 children there. So it's all part of our family. Thank you so much for all you do. I was able to meet you, I think
Yes.
about a year and a half ago here at the park. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
And thank you for keeping us informed.
Definitely.
Yes.
definitely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a
Yeah,
great
thank
day.
All right, moving on the agenda. Now we have items from the public not on the agenda. Any member of the public may address the council for a period not to exceed 3 minutes on any item that is not in the agenda. Please state your name and address and you can proceed.
All right. Henry Martinez Jr., 116 10th Street. I got a disturbing call Thursday. That the police had, that the police had my daughter locked up in a bathroom on Central Park. Today, I filed a complaint. Not once did the police department give me a call, I have your daughter. I had to find out from other people. My daughter's a minor, 17. She was in the woman's bathroom. Officer Perez decided to go into the woman's bathroom, which is a clear violation of her privacy. No man should ever enter a woman's bathroom, despite if he's wearing uniform or not. And I would not stand for this. There was no backup. There was no female officer. There was nothing. Then he decides to put a hand on my daughter. No one is gonna touch my kids again. And some of you guys already know this. And here we are at it again. I just got my kids back. And to touch my daughter again? No, no, no. I had to fly in from Boston to be here today, just to speak and handle this situation. Trust me, Officer Perez, I'm coming for him, and I'm coming for the rest of the department again. I stayed quiet. I had my dad on a short leash while he dealt with the police. Now I'm back. No touch my kids. I'm coming. I don't care how that looks or however you want to take it, but I'm coming for your officer. And I already argued with the school about him and this. He's not going to be on the school grounds again. Oh, no. I'm coming for him. No, you will never touch a man's daughter. Never. Ever. I don't care what you guys say or do. These are my kids right here. And I will not tolerate this. And I hope the city does something this time. Because trust me, I'm gonna give the city a chance. I have the videos. I have everything, and this time enough to prove what he did in his actions. Right there, everybody. If the city don't do anything, this is going straight to the news. I already called them and told them, and I'm telling them I'm waiting before I hand the videos over. And I hope this officer is dealt with.
Hi. Okay, I'm sorry. My name is May Martinez and I would like,
Wait, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We need to reset, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
okay, so my name is May Martinez and I just came back. I would like to address what happened to me in the bathroom. I was really, I don't know how to say this, but I was really just like, I was hiding from someone because I was scared to go with them. And I went to the bathroom because it was one of the safe places I could be with. And Perez came in and just knocked and I told him like, you shouldn't be in here. And then I was like, can you please let me out? And he wouldn't let me out. And I have a video of him not letting me out. And then when I tried to walk out, he grabbed me and I said, please don't touch me. And it was just really scary for him just to do that to me. And I don't know what to do. I can't.
She's afraid to go to school.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go to school now because of him, because it's, and to use public restrooms too, because it's like, it's very traumatizing for me to be touched by someone that was in police form, where I thought I can trust and be safe around with, but that I don't know about that anymore, because it was just really scary for me.
You're done.
Mhm.
Stay there. Sit down.
April Martinez, 116 10th Street. I get the call on Thursday about my daughter. And me, you know how I feel about the police department. And some of the officers that have been promoted should not have been promoted, especially Mendoza. What he did to me was uncalled for, and you guys did nothing about it. I'm gonna reopen that complaint. And all against all the other officers that did stuff to me too. And you know what? I'm not gonna stand for this. If nothing's done, I'll take it higher than this city. I'll take it to the next level. No one touches my daughter. No one goes after my husband or my kid or my father-in-law. I'm not standing for this anymore. I stood quiet. I'm not gonna be quiet no more. You just open up that big can of worms for you. For you guys.
Henry Martinez, 112. In the morning of Thursday? Oh, you want to go first? Go ahead, go first.
Hi, my name is Henry Martinez III, 116 10th Street. I got a text from my parents at school trying to do my fourth period homework. And they texted me like, you need to hurry, it's an emergency, because they're trying to take away my sister away from school. But when the social workers showed up, they took her out of school. By court law, students had to finish school order for them to get my sister out of school. And I'm tired of these cops because I'm still having nightmares. One is already gone. I still have one more left. And it's been stressing me out too much because I'm sick and tired of every single cop in this city. And after what happened on Thursday, I was mad and trying to keep in my anger because there's something inside me. It's a devil, and I'm not trying to unleash on the cops. That wouldn't happen. It wouldn't end well for me or them too. So I'm sorry, cops, but I'm going after you. I'm sick or tired of you trying to take my sister away, including social workers. And it hurts me so much seeing cops at the school today. And there's been a whole bunch of complaints with my dad dealing with cops so much. He came from Boston, as he told you guys, and it was traumatizing. And after hearing that from school, couldn't go to school on Friday because I'm traumatized. And every time I see cops around, I'm scared and I'm afraid because every time I go to the store right here, right next to the police station, I just buy chips and monsters, that's all. I'm just afraid that they might come out and talk to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Henry Martinez again, 112 10th Street. His nightmares that I helped him with was two demons with red eyes dragging him out of the house. He suffered that for 10 years in adoption. And what it was Officer Captain Mendoza and Molly Enrique, dragging him out of the house, telling him they're taking him away from his parents and he's not gonna come back. They were just gloating that to him as a kid. What is a 10-year-old, 8-year-old had to be told that he's being dragged away from his parents? And both of them dragged him out of the arms. So they came back messed up. I went to the school in January when the officer at school tried to talk to my grandkid. And I told him, I don't need your officers to talk to him. I need someone else, second party, to talk for the officers and not approach my grandkids. And what they do, I went to the police station, I went to City Hall, and I went to the school board, to the school, I went to the high school, and they never addressed back to me. Then this Thursday, I get a phone call that they were gonna remove my granddaughter. And they have no legal rights to. And I tried all day to contact the city, the school, and the police department 15, 20 minutes after 1 o'clock, and they did not answer their phone. I would have told them to not approach my kids because they're not stable. When you approach my kids now, they just think back 10 years ago. Lucky I got there in time to chase the cop off, to tell him back off, he doesn't belong here. You know, we're tired of 10 years of harassment. Harassment. 6 or 7 accused of false arrests, being accused of false stuff. And the city, what it does, it sends me a letter. I'm sorry, it's not valid. You guys were all witness when they dragged me out of here. They dragged me out of here, trying to charge me that I had assaulted a woman. And now she's going to be a trustee at Hartnell. They appointed her trustee for Hartnell College. And no one addressed that my civil liberties and free speech, I was dragged out of here. And no one of you guys complained to defend my rights. It's not fair. Leave my kids alone and me and my family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosa Rodriguez, 307 Ayrshire Way. It saddens me a lot because we have a child in the audience. And I could see that, she's going to grow up and she's going to be one of the people that are going to help our community. I could tell in her eyes, I could tell that. So we have to be really careful what we say up here, even if we're passionate about it. And I'm going to say this, I was a volunteer with the police department when Chief Cudio was here. I was part of the health and safety fair, and it started at La Gloria. And then I asked Officer Amaro, may he rest in peace, if I could, add a health component to the safety fair. Okay. And then, and it was Lombardi and Austin, I'm not sure where he's at, but, and I worked very closely with the police department. Unfortunately, last year there was an incident at my house during the Christmas lighting parade. And I was arrested by Officer Bowen, who bruised me, and he used excessive force. And he said he was going to lie on the report to say that I kicked him. Well, the charges were dropped. That kind of police we don't need on the force. Okay. And I'm being very tactful because we have a child here. And, all this lighting and competition between, our who has the best home and all that, thank God we don't have that competition going on anymore. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, we have to be very mindful and make sure that there's proper training in the police department, because I would like to continue to collaborate to help our community. And those things should not ever happen again. What she said could have triggered my PTSD, because do I have PTSD? Yes, I ended up in jail. I have diabetes. I could have died there. I didn't. Why? Because our Heavenly Father wants me here. And I have a better purpose to be here, and that's to help my community. So these things don't happen. And I'm also waiting for a follow-up appointment for Mayor Park. About Mayor Park, I reported to the police department and I reported to the city that there's some people, playing basketball, which I thought was great because I thought it was recreational until they started bringing goats to Mayor Park. And there was a goat poop there and there was also blood because I used to go to Mexico to the village and I know that's blood. And the gentleman said that he had contacted the city to request a permit to have, I guess, like some kind of competition going on there playing basketball. And there was a lot of people there. But today I saw goat poop and I saw blood, which I assume it was from the goat because it was leading to the poop and like little walls. And then there was also glass there, like some kind of a beer that had been broken or something. And there were pieces of beer. So I already reported it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to make a comment? See no one rushing the podium. I will go ahead and ask Marisol, do we have anybody on Zoom that would like to make a comment?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Stella, anybody via email?
No comments.
Okay, thank you. I'll close that part of the agenda and move on to the consent agenda. Anyone from the council wishing to pull an item from the consent agenda? Seeing no one, anyone from the public wishing to pull an item from the consent agenda? See nothing, then I will go ahead and ask and entertain a motion for either approval or disapproval.
Move for consent?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to the next item of business, Monterey County Business Council proposal. Staff report.
We have Paul Farmer here that's going to be telling us a little bit more about what you have in front of you today for consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council and others present. My name is Paul Farmer with the Monterey County Business Council, and I'm joined by my colleague, Jose Luis Barajas. So we just have a few things to talk to you about today. It's an opportunity to serve businesses in South County, throughout the county, but especially in South County. We'll talk about what's going on, an opportunity and a small request for support from the council. So first, if we could go to the next slide, please. It's related to the Small Business Development Center. So if you're not aware, the Small Business Development Center is a federal program operated by the Small Business Administration. In our area, we have a master agreement with UC Merced that then contracts with smaller small business development centers throughout the area. Since 2016, our SBDC in the Monterey and San Benito counties has been operated by CalCoastal, and many of us know Cindy Merzon, and Cindy has announced her retirement. In fact, they just closed the office, and right now services are being delivered by UC Merced. We currently don't have a small business development center in Monterey County and San Benito counties. So MCBC has seen this as an opportunity. I like to think that change brings opportunity, and Jose Luis and I will talk about some of the good things that could come out of this. MCBC is currently going through the RFP process. The RFP is due December 15th. And part of that is for us to get community support, cash matches for the funds needed to run the center. And in a nutshell, what a small business development center does is help with developing business plans, HR support, access to funds to grow a business. And especially when we look at businesses in the southern part of the county, they have different barriers to their success. And Jose Luis will talk a little bit about what our program at the Monterey County Business Council has done to support those businesses. But for now, we believe we're the only ones who are applying so far. We won't know until it's done. But if we don't, if we're not successful in this, then we wouldn't necessarily have a small business development center that would be operated here locally. And so we're stepping up, hoping to partner with you and other cities in the county so that we have a small business development center. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jose Luis.
Next slide, please. So to touch a little bit more on the collaboration we've undertaken with Cal Coastal, this is a picture of myself with the former program coordinator, Ms. Sharon Mikesell. We do a lot of collaboration. So currently we have 4 satellite offices throughout Monterey County, particularly for our Building Business Back program. We have an office in Monterey, Pajaro, King City, and Soledad, aside from our base location in the city of Salinas. We've been able to collaborate extensively through the provision of business services, through our direct outreach, which the SBDC previously was not able to do because they just simply did not have the wherewithal and the bandwidth to do that type of direct outreach. We're able to collaborate with our Building Business Back program. So we've been in constant communication with businesses, going in person, as well as hosting various workshops in various locations throughout the county in a hybrid format. So people are always able to join both in person and online, and they're always also offered in a bilingual format. So always have interpretation available. And in some cases, we even host workshops completely in Spanish with interpretation available into English. Sorry, you could keep it on the last slide previously. Additionally, all of our staff is fully bilingual. Previously, the current or previous SBDC only had 1 bilingual staff member, whereas all of our staff is fully bilingual in English and Spanish. Aside from that, we have extensive community partnerships with different minority serving organizations, such as the Filipino community of the Salinas Valley and the Korean American Association of the Central Coast. So we do rely on these different minority serving organization partners to provide services in those languages when they're needed. Additionally, we've undertaken a number of initiatives through our Building Business Back program to support historically underserved communities. Our program in particular has a special director from the Board of Supervisors to support minority-owned, women-owned, LGBTQ+ owned, as well as businesses operating in rural and unincorporated areas of the county. Why? Because these were the businesses that were most impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and need additional assistance and additional outreach to make sure that they're able to fully recover and thrive from the pandemic. We operate in all areas of the county. As I mentioned, we have all of our satellite locations as well as our main office in Salinas. And most notably, we are also home of the Monterey Bay Apex Accelerator. It was formerly known as the Monterey Bay PTAC, which is the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. It's also a federal program operated by the Department of Defense. This program helps small businesses access government contracts. So they help with the preparation process for their proposals, preparing their RFQs, for RFPs, as well as post-award assistance and any other contract assistance that they might need, all of which are services that are completely free, both from our Building Business Back program and the Monterey Bay Apex Accelerator. Next slide, please. Our plan is to run the SBDC a little bit differently than what it's currently set up as. The previous SBDC only had a location out of Salinas to serve both Monterey and San Benito counties. However, we plan to take the lessons learned from our in-person outreach and the demands and asks from our business owners to have services provided a little bit closer to them. Access at the end of the day is essential, as you heard previously from Paul. We're currently being serviced by UC Merced. So if you think about, travel time and that literal access, that is a barrier to entrepreneurship. That is a barrier to accessing those services for our businesses. So we've asked the city of Monterey and Soledad in particular to host our satellite locations, where we plan on hosting all of our peninsula operations and services out of the Monterey location, and our Soledad location would be our base of operations for our South County businesses. We also hope to enhance our already strong partnerships with different business organizations. We have formal collaborations and partnerships with all the chambers of commerce, as well as other industry organizations, such as the Central Coast Builders Association and other organizations as such. And here we have a little picture of our program manager, Jesus Esputia, who's also joining us via Zoom today, doing some outreach with some of your City of Gonzales staff here, going business to business, letting them know that we're here as a resource for them, as well as other resources that might be available to them, whether it's grant programs, loan programs, utility assistance programs. We're here to help them navigate every step of the way. Next slide. And some of the benefits of a local small business development center is access to services. As I mentioned, we're currently being serviced by UC Merced. So having that physical office, that physical presence here in our community is essential. as well as being able to participate in outreach events. Whenever the city has a fair, they'd be able to participate, whereas being serviced by UC Merced currently doesn't present itself to provide those services and that kind of community participation. We are also able to focus on DEI business owners. Like I mentioned, our Building Business Back program already has extensive experience supporting these different communities that required special supportive services at the time, as well as that all SBDC services are also free, which would be a great complement to our already free Building Business Back services and our free Monterey Bay FX Accelerator services. Our connections would be our SBDC staff is specialized in all things small business. So they would be able to help them with all things, whether it's permitting assistance, getting hooked up with the utility line, getting their business online. Our Building Business Back team and the former SBDC were both grow with Google partners. So we're certified to train local businesses in digital skills. So we hope to continue to develop those connections and enhance those opportunities for our community, as well as filling the gap. Most cities here in Monterey County and in the Central Coast at large don't really have the capacity and the staff to support businesses directly. So having a local SBDC and having each city pitch in, contribute something to help keep that running is an essential service both to your local, your Gonzalez businesses and the greater community at large. And next slide, please. And I'll hand it back over to Mr. Paul Ford. Oh, the last one is that by supporting the local SBDC, you're also helping achieve your City of Gonzalez economic development goals, strategies, and actions, such as goal number 5 and goal 6, which is to maintain adequate resources and readiness to support business growth and expansion. By bringing the SBDC back at this point to Monterey County, you're helping keep and achieve that mission. Goal number 6 is to create tools and systems to encourage entrepreneurial new business development to assist in business retention. Currently, there really isn't a business retention program here in Monterey County, so this would be able to provide those services. So when a business is maybe experiencing a decline in revenue, they're able to contact and receive services from the SBDC before they're in those final stages where they have to close. So that's an additional service that and benefit of having a local SBDC, aside from helping you guys achieve your already stated missions in your economic development goals.
All right, next slide, please. The risk is just if right now, as part of this RFP process, I mentioned we have to get a cash match. It's $120,000 that we have to raise. There's money provided by the SBA as well, but in order to be eligible to do this, they expect us to get support from the community, which is why we're here tonight, and to be able to raise more funds to successfully run this center. If we are not able to do that, we're working hard on it. All of the city councils, we realize, are meeting this week, Greenfield's next week, and then you have December off. So we're reaching out to everybody. What we're asking, if you go to the next slide, we're asking most cities to contribute $5,000 toward this. And the cities that are also hosting a satellite location would provide the space and $10,000. So currently that's Soledad and Monterey. And I want you to know that our intention is really to help those businesses in areas where they need it most, en su idioma, in their language. And we also could entertain the possibility of being here sometimes in Gonzalez, because even going to Soledad, it's easier if you're in your own community. But what we're lining up with them is a physical office where we can be there every week. But we could also discuss with Carmen and her team having some days when we can come here as well. So that's the overall vision. So the ask for you is 5K. Again, I said change brings opportunity. And I think that for a relatively small investment for the city of Gonzalez, I think we can be helping businesses in your city and in South County quite a lot. We talked a little bit about Building Business Back. That was one-time funding that MCBC got from the county as part of the American Recovery Plan Act. And we've been able to use that money to build relationships with Carmen and the staffs throughout all of the cities in the county and with the county. And more importantly, Jose Luis, Jesus, and sometimes myself are also building relationships with businesses. And the first time you go there, they're like, sospechando, okay, who is this person? What do they want? But over time, they start to realize, you know, what we're able to do. And when people talk to others, So I think that success for this program is able to leverage the relationships we've been building. So again, just to finish all my talking, we're asking you to contribute 5K as one of the cities in the county that will help us hopefully keep this small business development center in our area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does council have any questions for our presenters? If not, I'll open it up to the public. Liz, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Paul, I have a couple of questions. And I think I'm fairly familiar with your organization, but approximately how many businesses do you think have been assisted without giving up any names? Just here in Gonzales. And
Okay. Do you know he knows.
he's the numbers
better than I
guy.
do.
Yeah. Our designated staff member for South County is actually Jesus Escutia, but like you mentioned, I am the numbers guy. The number of businesses we've helped in Gonzales is directly is around, I want to say around 15 businesses directly, mostly through the Grow with Google certification program. We've been helping them get registered on Google and setting that up, as well as uploading their pictures and video and starting that online marketing.
And that's just our program. If you look at the Small Business Development Center, I think their numbers for this last year for all of Monterey County was 869, something like that. I don't have the breakdown of how
And
many
that's
of those.
fine. I
were
just kind
here.
of wanted a ballpark number. And of those businesses that you've been able to assist, what's the success rate? Is it 100%?
I would say one other thing that we have to look at, even if we looked at the numbers that the current Cal Coastal SBDC was able to get, we have to realize that they're not physically coming out here and talking to people. So whatever the results were before, we anticipate that we should be able to do better than that. And your question is about what the results were. So I will speak, I have a slide in my head that's not up there. What the
Can you project
SBDC.
it on the TV?
We don't want what's in my head to go
Oh,
on any
okay.
screens. But anyway, what Cindy Merzon has shared with us, that the Small Business Development Center likes to see 5 hours as a minimum with each business, because if it's fewer than 5 hours, they're not really making an impact. And the slide that I have in my head shows how the pandemic impacted the number of hours, because they just were not able to see people as much. So I don't expect that the results here in the last few years have been what they could be. But when we look toward the future, I think that we can plan to meet with those businesses more, identify what their needs are, and line them up with the resources that can help. So I know that's not hard, concrete numbers, but that's kind of what things have looked like recently.
If I could chime in real quickly, we do have the actual number. It's on page 38 of the packet. Gonzales, they supported 12 businesses.
Okay.
And I do have a location ready to go as well, so that they can actually.
And
help
those
set up.
businesses, are they still in business or?
That data I don't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. If you've helped 12 and the 12 are still in business,
Yeah.
that's 100%. I was just kind of in
Yeah.
my mind.
And this is all information. It's not work that we've done,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It was Cal Coastal.
That's fine.
So, and they don't share any of the data because it's, I mean, they'll share numbers like
Numbers,
that.
and that.
But they have
numbers
to preserve the anonymity of the businesses. that they're
And that's
working
why I just wanted numbers.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Liz.
Any other questions from council before I open it up? to-
Yeah, I just want to say, thank you, because I know Jesus has been busy, and I've referred some of the business owners, who needed some assistance to him, and he was able to help them out. It is a challenge because, every business is different. We have businesses that have to deal with, the state and our local health department, and they all have different issues, and it's really nice just to be able to go to a one-stop place where they can get the information and the assistance so they can continue to do business. So the hours in Soledad will be staggered throughout the week, or is there a
So I
schedule?
think what we'll do is we'll need to work with Carmen and her
Okay.
team. We're not planning to open a regular satellite location here because the amount of funding that we have, the SBA has $175,000. We're aiming to get $120,000, not just from city governments, but we're also talking with banks and other private businesses that can support it. But when you bring everything together, we're still going to be a relatively small team.
Right.
And so we'll end up having to have those conversations with Carmen and her team. I just want to say, like, we should be able to do that. If you've got a space and we're all working together on this, then let's just figure out when we'll be here and make sure that people know that. And so that's one of the things we've been really good at, is going and talking to businesses and meeting them where they are. So, but I don't know what his schedule will look like at present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Muddy.
We're good? Good? All right, then I'll go ahead and open this item up to the public. Any member of the public that wishes to address the council on this particular subject may do so. Rosa, great.
Rosa Rodriguez, 307 Ayrshire Way, and I always give credit where credit is due. I learned what I'm about to say from Ms. Maria Orozco, and I know that she's actively helped a lot of businesses, you know, to try to help them, because of course, if they do good, then we get taxes, and that helps the whole, you know, community, right? And I know she focuses a lot on that, because I don't know if she worked in Salinas on that, but this is from the Economic Development Department. And I know also Ms. Chief Cudio, when she was here, she was asking me, do you think we should have like an ice cream store here? Because there's a business, I guess the Pacheco's, that wanted to have a business at the time. And I also learned about all the, you know, I guess the city of Gonzales offers, I guess, loans for small businesses and so forth, and to get them running and so forth. So I think this would be great, because also a lot of the, I guess, how do you say, the outside appearance or the facade, or, you know, however that's said, it depends if people actually go there or not. So I think it would be great. And this is reading from the city of Soledad, unfortunately, because I think, like what he said, we actually need them for our city website. Because this is easier, the website from Soledad is easier to read than from the one from Gonzales. And this is what it says. Economic development refers to policies and programs to help increase the community's economic activity in order to create more and better jobs, and to provide greater choice and competitive prices for goods and services. A healthy economy also increases revenues to local government through property tax and through additional sales tax, which equates to financial reinvestment in city services and our business community. And it talks about business outreach and support, maintaining a healthy business environment for the city. And this is Soledad, because unfortunately, we need their help to get our website kind of like Soledad's. We recognize that a healthy business sector provides the resources necessary to sustain jobs and services for citizens. Business retention and expansion programs are successfully being implemented to improve the city's revenue base, create jobs for residents, and provide the overall well-being of the Soledad business community. And I think our city attorney would know, because he works also with Soledad. I've seen the meetings. So I think, you know, a lot of people here, you know, work either in Salinas or in Soledad and whatnot, but we really need to focus in Gonzales as well, so that we could get all those taxes here, so that we could have, you know, more money for other things, and hopefully more services for our community, and to help our businesses grow. So I think this would be a great program. $5,000, I mean, with the Special K Committee offering $5,000 to businesses to help out the community, why not do it for, you know, our businesses? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wishing to comment on this item? Seeing no one rushing the podium, I will go ahead and ask Marisol, do we have anyone via Zoom that would like to make a comment?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. Estela, anybody via email?
No comments.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and close the public meeting and bring it back to council. I'm assuming staff is looking for us to make a motion to. Okay.
I actually want to say something.
Okay.
And I want to say that I think it's a great organization. Okay, I know Jesus, he's done things at the American Legion, and I think you guys are doing a great job. But I need all of us to remember one thing that's set up here. We don't have a lot of money right now. I know $5,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but every penny that we have right now, we're struggling with. And we have things that come up that we can't pay for. We have a heater that went out in the pool that we're trying to pay for, that I know came out that we weren't expecting. If we don't fund this, that doesn't mean that people will not be helped, you know, through the council. I just want them to understand, because I'm not trying to be mean or anything at this point. It's just that right now we are strapped in this community with money. We don't have a lot of money in this community, and $5,000 is a lot of money, I think, at this point. I'm one person though, and I have just one opinion, so I look to my colleagues. I think it's an incredible organization. I think you're doing good work. But we have a satellite in Soledad where we can get assistance through that satellite. There's one in Salinas. I was a small business owner, so I know what's involved to be a small business. I think we have plenty of people around here that can assist in that area. But again, that's just my opinion. So, thank you.
Anyone else?
I was gonna,
Go ahead.
I think I share similar feeling, except I was gonna throw it out there to see if there's any funding left in the Measure X or measure, whatever letter it is, X or K. Is there any surplus in any of those programs?
So Measure X, we can't even tap into because that's not what.
That was for the community center.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
so Measure K.
Measure K.
Measure X, Measure K. Yeah, it's.
Everything's been allocated for that.
More. This would come out of current budget. And so, yes, you are correct that if we take it out of the current budget, it will decrease in other areas.
Right, and we have issues where, I think what I worry about is if an emergency comes up, and we've already had a couple of emergencies so far. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, $5,000, but it is. Do I think that maybe down the road we could? But I know you need it for your grant, you know, I get that too. I'm looking to my colleagues here, you know, I just want to be the realist in this group and say, you know, we need to look at this budget. You know, we've been talking about this now over a period of time. We've had concerns from people in our community, you know, why aren't you paying for certain things? Because we don't have the money, and then we're going to allocate money for something else. So I just want to play devil's advocate here and just say, we need to look at that as well. Thank you.
Comments from this side of the room?
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you,
Scott.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I can chime in, and I definitely appreciate the sentiment, and I agree we're on tight times, with obviously not as tight as we were, you know, several years ago. And I've seen the benefits of the small business center in the past. And I know we don't have the same support we're getting now. This is an opportunity to rejuvenate that. Based on what I've seen in the past, you know, pre-COVID, et cetera, you know, and based on, having many conversations with staff at that time and working with members of, Gonzales, but also the city of Salinas, I've seen dollars come in and grant dollars come in, and they're exponentially, replenished. And so I see this as a good investment. I get it. It is $5,000. $5,000 is a lot of money, and that's where I'm gonna look to our esteemed city manager and our finance director to assist us and tightening as best we can. But I personally, based on past experience, see this as a good investment, and it's just that an investment. And I can see those services. Now I agree if Gonzales declines and they have to pull their money from someplace else, they'll do that. Will it be the end, the death knell of the program? Very likely not. But I would like to see Gonzales be a good partner and be a part of it.
Yeah, I also concur with Scott's comments, and I also share the concerns of the others, but I can tell you that having worked with small businesses in East Salinas and even now as a small business owner, and I mean, I have a little copier in my shop, and some of the business owners will come in and I'll make a few copies for them and provide them with some basic information as to how they can have better access to funds and where to go. And it's a challenge because I don't have all the answers, but it would be nice to be able to refer them to some place where they can get that information. And it is a challenge because many of them, don't understand the process for applying for some of the loans that may be offered or what the next step is. And these are small business owners that are in our community that would really benefit from some of the programs and the training that they're able to provide. So I think it's a benefit. It's not a large amount, it's a small amount, but at the end, I think for many of our small business owners, they'll be able to receive some great information on how to be more successful in their businesses and how to stay in business, because that's the challenge too for many of our business owners who fall into hard times and don't know where they can access, the resources for them to be able to get ahead. So I'm supportive of supporting this project.
I'll give you my 2 cents, and that is that I think that I've seen a number of small businesses that tried as hard as they did, not successfully complete their endeavor. And I thought it was kind of sad because some of them were, from what I could tell, was a simple matter of doing a little more advertising and maybe hiring one more person to be able to stay in business. But like any new business owner, they have a dream, but a lot of them don't ferret through to say, okay, well, what are the permits that I need? What's my total cost going to be? What's my advertising dollars? And I think having someone like this, I mean, if you break it down, it's less than $500 for the 12 people that they've helped with. I would venture to say that we're going to see that as long as that business is successful in staying in business because of their help and outreach. I also know that our city manager is working on several leases that are long overdue to be upgraded. And so I'm thinking that the money is there. Maybe not all 5,000, but maybe a good chunk of it. So, for the amount of money we're going to invest, I think we're going to see that back. And obviously we can revisit this next year. And so for myself, I'm kind of thinking that this is maybe a good investment for our community. Obviously going to be a long-term investment because we're not going to see the results tomorrow. We're going to put 5,000 in with the hope that they help enough businesses that are in our community to stay in business. And that's my hope, because I always hate to see when a dream dies. So at this point, I guess I'm ready for a motion of some sort from
I have
either
one more-
side.
One more quick question. Is this something that we can look at getting a grant to help support at any point?
So for right now, the request has only been for this year. So we have not been approached and asked to fund this again next year.
After July 1st, you mean, or after January 1st?
In this fiscal year, because they need it to provide that match to then get their grant.
Gotcha.
So, and just a disclaimer, we will not pay that unless they actually receive the grant. So unless they actually get to keep the center here locally, we have not discussed any, future years at this point at all. I think in the future, it will be a conversation about what grants are there. I'm sure they're going to be seeking other future grants for the years to come. So it's not that we're signing up for, to provide this for 3 years. This is a one-time money right now. Again, and we're allocating it to support them to secure that grant.
Understood, but the question I have is, so we don't know, obviously, if you don't get the grant, then we don't have to pay it. But if you do get the grant, which potentially means it could come out in the next fiscal year? I mean, I'm just asking because I'm trying to figure out where that money's coming.
Yeah, I mean, so right now I have it set that it would come out from economic development. And we do have some grant money that we are requesting back in the
'Cause you
budget.
said it comes from the planning fund balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, under economic development. So planning, Fund 170, I believe it is. So it would come out of there. But yes, ultimately, it's our current budget. So, we'll have to make it work. But we are continuously seeking grants and we're continuously, receiving more grants. So for example, the chair yoga stuff is going to be some outside money. We just got a notice today that they will give us a little bit more money for things like the community garden. So there's a little bit of wiggle room with additional grants that come in for specific things, but that can help offset. So, minor 2,000, 3,000, we could potentially bring some additional money, but this would be for this fiscal year. That's what I was told. It was this fiscal year. So I just want to confirm. We have not, again, and we wouldn't commit unless, we would come back to you before we commit for any future years. But again, at that point, yes, we could potentially seek additional grant funding. So there's grants for small impact grants that we can get that could potentially support, something here locally that could help pay for things like that.
How long have you known about this? That's my question. This particular grant?
We knew informally about it, like Cindy Merzon told us that she was planning to retire. The RFP only came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, that was my.
And it's like
Yeah,
this.
always
So,
like that, huh?
and we know they were working on it. It took them more time. And if I can add one other point, that is our total budget that we're looking at for this program from all sources is about $400,000.
Mhm.
So the 5K that we're asking from you, it's really more symbolic because we need to pull everybody in to get that contract. But there's different grant sources that we're able to leverage from the state as well as the federal SBA. So, and we really need it the first year, most importantly. Now, of course, in future years, we want to deliver value to and say, that's the best darn 5K we've spent and have your businesses come telling you that. But if we look at it being very realistic from the SBA and the UC Merced's perspective, this is a 5-year agreement. Once the Small Business Development Center is awarded to a certain place, next year, we're going to survive if you can't afford the 5K next year. But we want to be able to come in and show that all of the cities and the county are supporting this because that strengthens our application, right? And so if we get it this year, then, then it gets easier afterward. But if we're not able to get it, and like Carmen said, I should have mentioned, if they don't award it to us, then there's no cost to you. So.
Yeah, I know, and I know it's $5,000 and it's $5,000 here and $5,000 there and $10,000 over here and.
Yep.
Yep.
I just, I just keep hearing that in my head all the time when we are talking about these things. And because somebody, I know that we all look at it like, okay, well, Soledad's going to do it and King City's going to do it and Greenfield's going to do it and Salinas is going to do it. And if we don't do it, then, that means we're not playing like we're supposed to. But sometimes you just have to make the hard call. And I know I sound like a terrible human here because I don't want to sound like a terrible human. I really care about small business. Well, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest, I'm just trying to be honest about this. We all sit up here and we all talk about this, that we want to bounce a budget and then people come in and they ask for money and, so I think you guys all know where I'm coming from. I said my piece.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I know we're maybe not a 100% consensus, but I do believe it's a great investment. I would like to make the motion that we move forward with the support of the one-time $5,000 for this grant.
Second, I'll second that.
A motion and a second. All right, call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Does that provide directions? Okay, thank you. And thank you for your comments, Ms. Worthy.
You bet.
Next item on the agenda is a request from PG&E to cut down some trees on North Alta. At this point, I will be stepping off the diocese as my pension check still says PG&E. I think there's a slight conflict there, so.
All right.
Let me get out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, we'll wait for you to clear the chambers.
We're going to depart. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, as the mayor has left the chambers, item number 8, PG&E's request for tree removal at North Alta Street entry. Staff report, please.
Thanks, Mayor Pro Tem Funk and council members. So as mentioned in the staff report, PG&E recently submitted an encroachment permit to remove 6 city trees that fall within their guidelines of being too close to the power lines at North Alta entry. So this is on the west side. And, went and met with our agency liaison and also their vegetation what is the title of it?
Mhm.
Vegetation project manager to discuss this in the field, because it looked to me like this was based on looking at Google Street View, and I wanted to make sure whatever, there was a real concern. These trees have been out there quite a while, but they are redwoods that are could be in better shape, number one. And PG&E offered the really the two options that are in your staff report. One is replace, cut the trees down, grind the stumps, and plant acceptable vegetation per the PG&E guidelines. So that would be shrubs, basically. And the other option, of course, or that they offered is a 2-for-1. They would cut the trees down, grind the stumps, provide the city with 12 trees, but then the city would be responsible for planting these trees. And so what else? I guess, we knew this, this wasn't just a staff level decision. We wanted to bring it to the council. There's lots of time on this. I did huddle with our contract landscape maintenance contractors, what I should say, and what would be the approximate cost, and that's in your staff report, about $9,000 to plant the trees that we would be given, and then $15,000 if we were to need to cut trees down, like the redwood trees, on the median between Alta and Alta Minor, between 5th and 3rd Street, if we were to look at that. But that's what they've offered is 12 trees, or they would plant vegetation at this location. And so I say it in the staff report that when we did the Alta Street project, there was significant landscaping that I think looks great at this north entry. And if I had to make a staff recommendation, which I failed to do in my staff report, it would be recommend to go with PG&E planting acceptable vegetation at the same location rather than the city incurring the nearly $25,000 cost to use these trees. But we wanted to come to the council knowing that this is a major entry feature. And with that, that's my presentation. The guidelines are in your packets. I believe Myra on them. All right, so we thought maybe we'd have a PG&E representative zooming in, but looks like we don't. Again, not urgent, but this did just come up, and we wanted to present this to the council for your feedback, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. And I'll bring it back to the council for questions. Councilor Silva.
Question, it's 6 redwoods that are on the other side of the fence, between the fence and the tracks, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And there's a redwood tree or two across the street where the city sign is right next to the Garcia property, correct? I'm one of those persons that kind of likes to have things in balance. So if you see a redwood tree on this side as you enter, I want to see one on this side. Are they not going to take these trees off as you enter on the east side of
That's
Alta?
correct. That is correct.
Well, that would be lopsided to me.
Those darn power lines.
You know? Who was there first? I think the redwoods were here first, just saying. And again, this is cutting into the budget, in my opinion. If there, I know that there's rules about when you take an oak tree out, you got to plant 2 or 3 in its place. I don't know, is there any such rule about the redwood? I mean, it is our state tree.
So let's see, the redwoods that we have are not ideal for Gonzales. And we're seeing them suffer because they need a lot of water. And that's, again, that stretch, Alta, the median Alta and Alta Minor between 3rd and 5th. The redwoods are definitely struggling because of the drought, because they need so much water. And again, talking with our landscape contractor, Smith and Enright, they're like, yeah, it was quite a thing 20 years ago to plant redwoods. And I also have to say that, oh yeah, that landscape architect on the redevelopment, the downtown project was out of Santa Cruz. And I kind of think maybe there should have been somebody from the peninsula, somebody that was aware of what a good tree, a better tree than redwoods here in Gonzales. So PG&E offered the 2-for-1. take 6 trees down, they would give us 12 trees to plant.
Someplace else.
Yes, exactly.
Because, I mean, putting vegetation in those planters on the other side of the fence would do nobody any good except for as Manuel drove his trucks out of the back of his area over there, nobody would see them really. And, right, because they're on the other side of the fence.
But they are in an elevated
Yeah,
spot.
but if you take a tree out and you put vegetation, you're not gonna see it for the fence that's there.
Did you see what they proposed though? Did you look at what they proposed?
Bushes.
Manzanitas.
Yeah, but, and
Yeah.
I know they don't grow too high. Manzanitas are pretty.
Yeah. manzanitas.
But again, I gotta have balance, so what's the suggestion if they would include the redwoods on this side of the street?
If I can chime in, I think that's why we wanted to bring it to the council, because we want to be able to go back and negotiate what we need to negotiate. So you make a really great point about both sides having the same look. So that's something that we can come back and talk to them about as well.
That's what I would like to see, because again, I gotta see balance. I think, like Lorraine said, something that's a little higher and not just shrubs like a Mexican sage is like pretty small and short, nobody'd see it, but if it's something that could go over the fence line but not shoot up as high as the redwood does.
Yeah, and
I
guess
get it.
And then the question would be, would we have any say in what type of vegetation they would put in, or would they just decide? I guess that would be the question. PG&E.
Yes, so.
For option
All right,
2.
so yes, I assume we'd have a lot of say in the plant that we go, but this is part of a conversation, and I would continue to talk to our landscape contractor, what makes sense, what can we get that helps with the massing to replace these redwood trees, so it's not a low-lying shrub.
Exactly. I agree with Councilmember Silva about that, but I also, here I am again, talking about the money part.
Yeah.
You know, it makes the most sense for us, obviously, to go with that idea, so.
And I think a manzanita is fairly hardy.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them up in Arroyo Seco, so they go through.
And they're pretty.
Yeah, they are pretty.
Yeah.
And are they?
They also have California lilac. They gave us some options
Mhm.
on your presentation, so.
Which one doesn't give a lot of, like, don't drop a lot of leaves, because then we'll be raking up leaves till the
Because
end.
we've had problems in this town with our trees, you know, about not being able to maintain them in a good way and making sure that things are clean, because we've had some issues with that, lifting.
But
so.
if we can look at keeping things kind of
And
balanced.
the other question though, for you guys to ponder a little bit more is, the other option was to have them remove those trees and give us the other trees that can then potentially replace the dying trees on Alta. So that's another option too, or just basically leave that area as a project area and just replace those there. Or like I said, they would still cut those trees down, but they would give us the trees that we can then use to replace the dying trees.
Yes,
We
we
would
would have.
plant them.
we'd
And
have-
that's the dying trees where right here
On
along
Alta.
Alta Minor, right here.
Which
down-
we still have to do something about anyway, eventually, because they are dying and Public Works, I mean, if you want to give a report back on, we've tried to water them, we've tried to provide a little bit
Right.
more maintenance, but they're not, some of them are not gonna
They don't
last
respond.
much longer.
Yeah.
And these 12 trees would be a start. They would, it would be a partial effort to replace the redwoods that are suffering whatever, the Alta Street median out here.
Outside of the vineyard,
Yes, exactly.
excluding the vineyard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really the question is, would you like us to just stay
Right.
there and figure out what kind of trees or what kind of vegetation out on the outside? Or do that swap and bring in trees that can swap out these Alta ones?
How many
Yep.
trees do we think we need to replace along Alta Minor or Major between? the
So there's
two?
quite a few, I mean,
A
40,
dozen?
40 to 50. No, it's
Wow.
quite.
40 to 50?
Yes, that's quite a few.
There's that many trees in it?
Yes. I've walked it several times.
Wow.
right, any more
that-
questions for staff before we ask for public comment? Then we can bring it back.
No, that's it.
Well, I think what at least, yeah, at least what I'm trying to say is we want to do it as inexpensively as possible. I looked at option 2, but I also want us to be able to have some control of what we put in there. You know,
Mhm.
if there's something we can do about that. I
Definitely.
don't know. So
All right, let's open the public comment. Any member of the public wishing to comment on this item?
Rosa Rodriguez, 307 Air Shar Way, here in Gonzales. Well, I don't need my glasses. Well, I think it's really important to maintain, how can I say, if the trees need to be cut, they need to be cut. And, you know, we already know what happened, I think, with a PG&E issue when, you know, the trees were too high in the power lines. And I mean, if we have really strong winds, like we normally have them in February, I think preventive measures are better than, you know, after the fact measures, which can actually cause a fire. And, you know, fire department is here. I'm sure Jason can, you know, attest to that. And not only that, but I mean, the humane thing to do is once a tree is, you know, it's time to come, it comes down, you know, normally out in the mountains or whatever, if there's fires, and that's why when there's fires, you know, the seeds go back in and there's new trees. That doesn't happen in towns and cities, so we have to cut them down. You know, that's what needs to happen. And that's why I'm really, really happy that at Mayor Park, those trees were pruned. I mean, they still need more pruning, believe it or not, because there's some heavy branches there and they can fall and actually cause somebody to die because those branches are really thick, you know, really thick and long. So the Mayor Park trees also need to, you know, to be maintained. Not only one time, you know, every blue moon, but they need to be maintained often, like everything else, and not be put until, you know, a tragedy happens, like what happens at Central Park practically every year. You know, it came down on a car and I think there was nobody in there, so that was good. So we shouldn't be saying, you know, well, you know, we'll just pay for the claim and, you know, nobody died and, you know, it happens once in a blue moon. No, we need to, you know, do maintenance. So, and we also need oxygen. I mean, there's a reason why trees have to come down because they get diseases, you know, they get rotten from the inside, they fall. There's a reason why they have to be cut down. And why? Because we had a tree for about 25 years. It was a plum tree and it had to be cut down. And I asked my husband, why are you cutting you know, it has a beautiful shade. And when he cut it down, I looked in the middle and it was all, you know, it was rotten to the core. So he's like, when, you know, he goes, that could have fallen down and somebody, you know, having a sandwich, you know, down, you know, in a blanket and stuff, that could actually kill you. So I said, oh, well, you know, good, it was cut down. So, you know, they're recommending something, it's for a reason, and we don't want to wait until February until an accident happens. And there's a, you know, yard safety on the PG&E. I wish Mr. Rios was here, but since he works there, you know, he can't be here. But it actually gives instructions about learn about managing trees and plants and the importance of calling 811 before you dig. And it kind of gives like an idea of planting with fire safety in mind and what kind of, I think, trees to plant. And I'm sure an arborist knows about that. So I would say get rid of the trees, plant new ones that are appropriate for that space. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public? Seeing none in chambers, we'll go to Marisol, any on Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you. And Stella, any via email?
No comments.
I thank you. And we'll bring it back to the council for further discussion.
The question is, do you want us to leave the stuff there or potentially replace out the trees? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So the question I have then is, if we take their 12 trees to replace along Alta, what's going to happen to that area then? Are we going to have to then you know, I guess, contract with our landscape person, or do we do it in-house at some point, not necessarily this year, but somewhere down the road, we can plan accordingly? And especially what I liked is that they showed some of the bushes that will attract the butterflies and the bees. And I really like that part. So if it goes to something like that, I think if there was input from maybe one or two members of the council with staff, working with staff to select the right things to go over there, if we don't put trees back over there, I would like to see that.
I follow.
Okay. So again, I like balance. So if there's no trees, then no trees on either side.
Well, I also want, just building on that comment, Councilmember Silva is, could we view it as almost an extension north of the existing landscaping that we have? So that there is it's not mismatched with the landscaping that's already out there?
Yeah, it needs to be consistent. It needs,
Right.
but needs a balance.
Right.
Liz needs to see balance.
All right, so if I understand, staff will come back. We'll talk with PG&E. We'll also talk with Smith and Enright, our landscape contractor. And we'll be looking at the trees come down and replacement landscaping
trees.
that adheres to the PG&E
With
vegetation.
landscaping that's compatible with what we already have.
Yes.
But that will also be attractive to the critters that we'd like to
Right.
see come, like the milkweed for the monarchs, who doesn't like the monarchs? And the bees, I mean, we have a lot of opportunities
Right.
for the bees, so, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I follow all that. And
Thank
that's- So we'll be coming back with an update. I don't know if that'll be January or February, but we'll be coming back with an update.
All right. Yeah, that works.
And
Thank you.
Liz, you should definitely sit on that committee.
That is providing direction, so,
Yeah, I think they have direction.
all right.
Yeah, wanted to comment, but the pizza came in today on time, so I figured, no, gotta play it right. All right, moving on to the next, item of the agenda. It's probably one of my favorite ones, and that's a progress report on the community center. Mr. Dobbins?
Mayor Rios, council members. So this is a really quick presentation, and I just wanted to come before the council with a sort of an end of the year progress report. I'm not going to go over a lot of the information that's in the staff report. You've seen this again and again and again, but the main reason or the main update is we're right on schedule. And it's been great working with the design build team of Auto Construction, WRNS, and it's a very schedule driven project, which I really appreciate as a project manager. And I know it says that we've gotten through the design development phase, so that ended the very end of October. They actually submitted a day early, and city staff and our consultants, so that's our building consultant, our construction manager consultant, Harrison Associates, and then Group 4, who's our design criteria consultant, all reviewed the design development document and provided comments. They're in the phase of preparing the construction documents. We expect to see the 75% submittal in January 19th, just to have a certain date. So that's a 75% construction document submittal. The schedule that's in your packet, expected to be completed with the construction documents by the end of February, which at that point in time, they'd be submitting for a city building permit and getting basically the final bids from Auto Construction's subcontractors. Fingers crossed, stay on schedule. We'll be looking at groundbreaking for phase 1 by the end of April.
Awesome.
That concludes my presentation.
All right, council discussion. Anybody any additional questions for Mr. Dobbins? And if not, I'll go ahead and open up to the public. No? Okay.
I just have a question on, Carmen, on the capital campaign amount, is that pledged? I mean, is that money in the bank, or is that still includes Does that amount still include pledges that haven't been,
6.7 don't include pledges. So at the last council meeting, I requested, you guys signed a resolution for me to draw down the 5.95, I
Right.
think it is.
okay,
So that's what cash on hand, from our pledges. And then we do have some of these that are outstanding that are coming in as their books are ready or, whenever their commitments are made. So there's more coming. I'm hoping that, as we go into groundbreaking, it's gonna really energize more folks
I think so
to
too.
get us to that finish line. So fingers crossed, and we'll keep talking and yeah, making more excitement about the whole thing that people will step up to the table.
Great, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and open this up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item?
Rosa Rodriguez, 307 Ershar Way here in Gonzales. Well, what I do want to say is I'm really happy that, community center is moving forward. And while that's happening, I do want to say that I was so happy to be able to attend, this past Saturday's, holiday event. I had a blast. It was I mean, we need to have something in the meantime while the community center is being built. And I think these community events is what we need until that happens. And I saw so many kids' faces happy. I mean, I saw classmates that I haven't seen since high school. I saw Veronica, awesome softball player. I saw a lot of different people that I hadn't seen in years. I saw Ms. Orozco out there. I saw Ms. Silva out there. And I saw previous Chief Miller, and I saw members of the fire department and police department. And I was just, I was so happy because I saw so many members of our community, having a blast out there. And that's what we need, so that we are not grumpy. We need something to be able to look forward to and be happy. And I was able to see my nieces, and to me, how can I say it? Seeing our kids and the parents and, the grandparents, and I saw Emily Chavez out there, and, I seen Paula out there from Bible study, and so many, Mr. Mendez and Miss Mendez, our former, city manager and community, member, and so many people that I saw out there that I hadn't seen in a long time. My cousin Chavita, Salvador Perea, and so many people that I saw out there. It just, I'm a social person, and a lot of people in our community are very, very social. Our young adults, we had young adults representing the Sun Street Center, handing out Narcan. And I was telling them, not everybody that uses Narcan means that it's because they're doing drugs. I have a sister that's on a huge amount of pain medicine. And sometimes, she has to go into the hospital and she's taking pain medicine at home. And then by the time she gets in the hospital, they give her pain medicine over there, and they have to give her something to offset, sometimes they give her pain medicine over there, not knowing that she took pain medicine at home. So now they have to give her Narcan in order to, balance everything out. So I think that the job that these youth are doing are great. I mean, I saw, we're talking about new kids entering business, my niece from the Perea family, she's doing her bracelets, and she's out there selling them. A lot of our community members, they're starting their own business. So I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm not seeing anyone else from the public. That's all I go ask. I saw anyone from Zoom wish to comment.
No comments via Zoom.
Any comments via email?
No comments.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and close the public period and bring it back to council. You don't need any direction, right, Carmen? I mean, all right. So just simply a report. Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Dobbins. It's always nice to hear good news. All right, moving on the agenda, we have our Gonzales Youth Council, their update.
Yes, good evening, council and staff. I'm here tonight, and just here to give a couple updates of what we've done with GYC so far. Our last meeting was on October 27th. The GYC met with a representative from Friday Night Live. They met with Lisa, And just a little background on what Friday Night Live is. It's a club that's at Gonzales High School, and it basically teaches I think all like 9th through 12th graders can join the club. And it basically just teaches youth about the drug and alcohol use among teens. They help like identify like what alcohol is, what alcohol pops are, like how to just basically just general awareness about drug and alcohol use within high school. And we wanted to have them there because, you know, we're doing things with our action project for the drug prevention. With Aaliyah was there, she has more intake on what happened, but they basically just exchanged information. They talked to Lisa talked about her experiences working with youth and like drug problems. And she shared her opinion on what she thinks the GYC could do and like what would work and wouldn't work when advertising it to students and all that kind of stuff. But besides that, our GYC also attended the Christmas festival that we just had a couple of days ago. Lisbeth and Aaliyah were there, our youth commissioner and our other ambassador. They were helping out with some of the tables there with the little kids, the drawing and stuff. And Aaliyah was with the Sun Street Centers table. And Aaliyah was there also distributing Narcan and just basically just general information about it and overdoses and all that kind of stuff. And our next GYC meeting is this Thursday in a couple days. We decided to have it on Thursday because next week is finals week for a lot of us. So we didn't want to have a GYC meeting on a Monday, the day before finals week and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to have it on Thursday so we could have it earlier in the day so we could go home earlier and rest up and all that kind of stuff. But on Thursday, we will be meeting with the construction team so they can be giving us an update on the community center and how everything's rolling with the Tina Innovation Center and all that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure they're going to give us some feedback on the information that we gave them when we met with them last time, talking about like what we wanted in the community center, the type of carpet, the color scheme, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's my update. Are there any questions for me?
Good luck with finals.
Good luck. Yes.
I know, yeah. I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it. But yeah, but thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to committee reports from council. I kind of started this out. TAMC, we had no meeting in November, and our meeting is on the 6th of this month, but not quite there yet. Moving on, Mayor Select Committee. Unfortunately, I've had a number of trips to Stanford, as you can imagine. On the 1st, I had another follow-up appointment, just like I got one tomorrow and one on Friday, so story of my life. Salinas Valley Recycles.
Do you get frequent flyers for going to
I
Stanford?
wish. The week of the operation, we actually stayed in a hotel
God.
because of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, no,
Well, I'm glad to see you back up here on the dais, Mayor.
I am glad to be back.
With regards to the Salinas Valley Recycles, we are going to have a strategic planning meeting on December 15th, and it'll be, I believe it'll be at the offices on Sun Street. But there will be no regular meeting in December. It will be in January. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And I have the next one, 3CE. We have not had a meeting, so there's nothing to update you on. And we'll go ahead and move on to oral communications. Any preference? Would you like to start? Okay.
I just want to echo what Mrs. Rodriguez said. And you didn't see me there? I was there. I thought the Holiday Lights was incredible. I loved seeing all the people there. It was lit beautifully. Everybody was involved. Everybody was engaged. We had our little Christmas tree that we decorated. Councilmember Silva and I called the Tree of Remembrance, which was remembering all those women from the American Legion Auxiliary. So we put their names on the tree. And that was something that we really wanted to do this year, and we were happy to participate. I agree. I think these community events are great. I think having everybody involved is great. I just wish everyone a blessed holiday season. Take care of yourselves, be safe, and be kind to each other. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Silva?
See you in 2024.
2024.
I'm going to echo Ms. Rodriguez's comments about Saturday. It was a very fun event. I'm just so happy we were outside again. Last year, it was a little challenging to be inside because when you have a cakewalk, you can't have a cakewalk in a gym that's very loud and noisy. And this year, we're all gung ho. We're going to have our cupcake walk right there by Mechanics Bank. And then we have Ben's generator next to us. So we couldn't even hear ourselves think. So you go into Plan B mode and everything worked out. We sold out all of our cupcakes. It was very festive. I think there were people who stopped by that weren't even from Gonzales during the day. They just happened to be in town and, well, what are y'all doing here? What are you going to do? So I told them, well, one lady says, I'm from Seaside. I'm going to stay for this. So she and her family ended up staying in town. People who live here in Gonzales had never attended an event. And she said, well, we just happened to hear about it or somebody called me. So we came down to check and they were having a lot of fun. And there was really some interesting booths. Since we set up very early, I was able to get the pre-sales done early, my retail therapy. So that was a lot of fun. And the tree was a tree of remembrance. Our auxiliary unit for the Legion has been here since since the beginning of time. I just saw some membership records yesterday at the hall. I was just kind of curious, and it looks like we were chartered back in the 1920s. And there was probably 6 members back then. And so in just going through a few pages, I think there were a few women I may have missed. I put about 40 stars up of just the women that I could remember from childhood till now. And then one of the Legion members and we looked at the wall of commanders the other day, and it's like, okay, I know that one. Yeah, that wife was in it. Yep, that wife was in it. So I remembered most of their names, and his grandmother was in it. So Emma Studer, who used to live in the cottage that at the mayor's house. So, being here all these years, it brought back a lot of memories from a lot of the old timers when I was a little girl, like Mrs. Piffro, who I always called Noni. She was my next door neighbor. She was a member. So those names are up there. They're going to stay there. We're not taking anything down. And I want to thank the officer who was there when Lorraine and I were decorating, since we're both, I'm a little bit more vertically challenged than Lorraine. He helped us put the star at the top of the tree. So again, it was a lot of fun to be involved. And I just know that we were one of the top 3 trees decorated that day. One of the top 3, because there was only 3, but who's counting? Again, it was a great turnout. Thank you, Gonzales, because of you, we can continue to do these kinds of community events. And everybody got involved. And if you were there early, all you heard up and down 4th Street was Frank. So Public Works Frank, he was sought after quite a bit that day. And I too want to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season. Enjoy the time with your family. It's not guaranteed. So just be safe. And thank goodness we don't have snow, because I don't like driving in the snow. I'll deal with the rain, but not the snow. Thank you.
Mr. Funk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And likewise, I just want to wish everyone, staff in town, happy holidays, and hope everyone does stay safe and together. I do want to thank staff for all their efforts for those successful holiday lights. I also thank Public Works for all their efforts put up decorations around town. So it's I heard a lot of comments, and it's been very nice and festive. And I know we had lights up I think the prior year for a little longer, whatnot, and as far as lighting up some of the downtown streets and whatnot. And so it's a great time, and folks really appreciate it, and it makes it nice and walkable. So thank you very much. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Orozco?
Thank you. I'd also like to thank the staff for all the hard work that they did to make the tree lighting ceremony event a great success. Everybody that I spoke to really enjoyed it and had a great time. All the kids really enjoyed playing the games and the prizes. I did also talked to some of the folks who were not able to sell, some of our nonprofit groups that were not able to sell, and of course, we're a little disappointed. I will be meeting with the Health Department in January on a project that I'm working on, and we'll also try to get some more information on how we can work with the Health Department better to try to, I'm very familiar with some of the guidelines that you have to comply with, but it's been a while since I've had to deal with them, but to see if we can maybe be better prepared for next year and some of our events that we're going to be having during the summer so that we can be in compliance. But overall, it was a great event. So thank you for all of those who made it possible. And also, we have our Christmas parade on Saturday, so hopefully we'll get some folks to participate and decorate your vehicles. And again, wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you. I only have a couple of comments, and again, I want to say everything that everyone else has said, and I totally agree with you. I unfortunately was unable to go. There's days that I'm feeling pretty good, like today, and there's days that just can't get this headache to go away. But I did want to say thank you very much to all the staff that worked on that. I know Public Works was involved, Fire Department, Police Department. Everybody was involved, and that's so great to see. It was not lost on the public. They all understood how dedicated staff is in doing things like that, and they might not say it as often as they should, but they're very appreciative. My grandkids, I can tell you, I walked over on Sunday, and boy, as soon as I walked in, Grandpa, they had all these stuff that they bought at the fair, and look at this, look at that. Yeah, okay. Did you guys like it? Oh, yeah, Grandpa, we didn't want to leave. My mom made us come back. So just wanted to give you those kudos. It's a great job. And thank you again to everyone that participated in that. I also want to wish everyone happy holidays. Careful on the overeating of tamales because it will come back to haunt you, trust me. And I wanted to just comment to staff, if it's possible, maybe next year, if you decide to hold it on the same day as La Gloria. I did hear from several people that because I guess the vendors for this event were asked to be there, buy 3 or lose their spot or something, I don't know. That they ended up basically closing the La Gloria project down a little bit earlier than what they would have liked. Because I guess their thing went till 3, but then the vendors that were told that had to be over here by 3. So they ended up, once one vendor leaves, everybody else leaves. So I know there were several grumpy people from that side of the community that were not happy with the fair, only because they felt they maybe could have got a couple more sales over there. But if staff would coordinate a little closer with the school district, if you hold it on the same day, if it's not on the same day, no problem. So I would appreciate that, just so that, I got to hear it from all ends, so. Both sides, yes. Other than that, that's really all I have. I'll move this over to our city manager for her report.
I also only just have a little bit echo what you guys mentioned. I just want to thank all the staff that worked really hard, not only to make 4th Street look awesome, but worked really hard to make my snow machines work and just make it all turn out great. So there was 4 snow machines. That's the best part. So thank you to all the staff and everybody that attended. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll start taking notes for next year. And then, yes, we have our Parade of Lights Saturday. The registration is on our Facebook, on our website, and we also will have hard copies available at the office because we are asking folks to pre-register. It makes Chief Musio and Chief Weiss's life a lot easier and better if we have an accurate number of registrations. And so we are encouraging everyone to pre-register so that we have a good count and understand how many cars we can expect that night. The route is posted on, I know it's on social media, so I will have to check. I don't want to say it's on the website just yet because I know it just got posted on social media, but I will double check and make sure that's also on the website.
Yeah, same route as last year. We started, Canyon Creek Park and we ended Pursuit Field.
So that's all I have. And just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas as well and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year since we won't see anyone till next year. So
Anyone else who staff have a comment they'd like to make, or we?
So
good?
yes, Mayor
Good.
Rios, I've got two updates, and one is we've completed the long saga of replacing the computer servers for City Hall and the police station. This was authorized by the City Council a year ago. I don't know if it was the first meeting or the second meeting in November. I have to say that Alvarez thought that they would be doing this work and completing it last holiday season, and about the middle of last December, they said, no, it's actually more like June because of the long lead time to get, what was it, the switches. And my grumpy comment was, this is the business you're in, and I would think that you would know how long it takes to get these switches. So we, grinded through basically a 15-step. I think we're on step 14. It was something like 3 weeks ago, they replaced the City Hall. The server for City Hall. And then just last Friday, they replaced the server at the police station. And they were here that day, basically checking with all staff. Are you able to print? Are you able to get to the file folders, all the programs that you have? So I'm happy to report long saga, a lot of head banging, and actually met with Luis Alvarez saying this is not the way a project should go. And so I expressed just to put it out there. This is to put it out there and to fully report long and hard efforts that I thought would have been completed by now. But we are in the final few steps. I wanted to report out to the council on that. Mayor Rios?
Just a quick question. Is that going to improve our Zoom issues that we've had in the past? Because I mean, I don't know if I'm even being heard right now because we've had that voice issue with the mics, and I don't know if that was addressed as part of that.
So no, that's all part of our audio video equipment here in the council chambers. And so it is important to, basically it's like have your mouth should be within a fist distance of this microphone. It's really important.
Okay.
To speak into the mic so that the viewers at home are able to hear the council and staff. So you need to be really close to your mic.
Okay, got it.
The other update is on the Alpine Camp connection to city water and sewer. We got an email today that because of funding cutbacks in Sacramento, it will not be funded. The construction grant that we applied for and are approved for, they don't have the money this fiscal year.
That's
price. There was a cut of something on the order of $150 million in the water sewer project bucket at the State Water Resource Control Board. And so fingers crossed, when we get that money next fiscal year. That's it for Public Works.
Okay.
Musho?
Yes, sir. I just have a couple of things real quick. I just want to add a little something to what Luke reported on earlier during his report. So we did have members of our youth council share a table with Sun Street at the event for the purposes of distributing Narcan. They only gave out 13 two-dose boxes, which is not a whole lot. But they did hand out more information to people than people that actually took the Narcan with them. So that's a good thing. But most importantly is I've got a strong, firm commitment from Sun Street to partner with us more on those types of things. So as soon as I get the schedule of events for next year from the Recreation Department, I'm going to be sharing that with the people at Sun Street, and we're going to be able to coordinate on a lot of those events. The other thing I had for you was this afternoon was the first winter storm coordination meeting with Monterey County OES. Just some highlights. Yeah, El Nino's out there. It's super strong. The best minds in the weather business right now give us a 50-50 chance of having a wet winter. So the guy from the Weather Service described it as it's a meteorological shrug. Like, so they have no idea. We'll find out when we get wet. If it does happen, it's probably gonna be January through March like usual, our wettest months. The biggies for us to be concerned about is the river fire burn scar is still considered a threat. They did not get the vegetation growth back on those slopes that they thought they would get. So they've got problem areas in the 800 block of River Road and then in our little stretch of the woods at Line Kiln. So we'll be on the watch for that this winter if it starts raining. And that's all I got.
Chief, anything from you?
I have a whole lot to say, but no comment.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. So the council will now move into a closed session and, Mr. Funk, would you be so kind as to read those items? I'd appreciate it. I'm sorry, my vision is just not there yet.
No worries. I'll put on my reading glasses here. All right. Any member of the public may address the council on closed session items appearing on the agenda. Speakers will have a limit of 3 minutes. Please be brief to the point. Item number 14, the city council will recess to closed session pursuant to government code section 54956.8 to confer with and give instruction to its real property negotiator concerning the lease of property located at the city's water tower located adjacent to Fifth Street and US 101. And the other item is number 15, the city council will recess to closed session to confer with his attorney regarding litigation pursuant to the government code section 54956.9 D2 and is hereby of the opinion that a significant exposure to litigation exists.
All righty. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on this item before we go ahead and close this council meeting? Anybody via Zoom? Oh, sorry. I didn't.
Rosa Rodriguez, 307 Ayrshire. The only thing that I have a question on, it says here, I guess, give instructions to its real property negotiator concerning the lease of property located at the city's water tower, but it doesn't really say what the lease is. Is this in regards to, I guess the, how can I say it? I guess broadband or is it, I know that they were using it for cell signal and whatnot. And so I was trying to figure out what it is that is being, I guess, discussed because it doesn't really say what the lease is for. I mean, so I'm kind of wondering what it's for.
I'll turn to our attorney. Michael, can you,
It actually says as much as we can divulge at this point. That's why it's in closed session. So it's a lease and it involves the property that is referenced in the,
Yes, sorry, and that's the reason why the public can't really give public comment because we don't really know what is being, I mean, I know it's a closed session, but I mean, it's kind of pointless to open it a public comment if we don't know what to comment on. So I just thought I mentioned that.
by law, we have to do public comment.
Uh-huh.
By law, we have to post a description of what's going to be discussed.
Mhm.
And the description that we have on the agenda meets the legal requirements. You don't have to give the details of the lease and so forth. And so forth.
Yes, unfortunately, that makes it hard for us residents to know, to give a comment.
That's
Yes, no, I understand. I just thought I, mentioned that because, I mean,
I just thought I mentioned that that's the
yes, and I appreciate that. And that's why you're the attorney. You would know. And I'm sure that the people that we appointed to council will make the right decision because it affects all of us, not only us residents, but also the people on the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All righty, then we'll go ahead and move to closed session. So I'll go ahead and clear the room out. Gotta speak to this thing.